Hello there, and as usual, I'm Aaron from Staying Gamers, and welcome back to the Planetary training exercise. It is of course day 2 of the operation. I've had my first night down on the planet's surface, living out of the exploration vehicle of course. In the last episode I did phases 1 to 3, phase 1 being of course offloading this exploration vehicle, phase 2 exploring the planet for a suitable location for my base to explore and further investigate the planet's sort of substances, and phase 3 I set up a beacon to communicate with the ship above. Now, in today's episode, we're going to be covering Phase 4 and 5 of the simulation. Phase 4 will be the beginning of the construction of the base, and Phase 5 will be receiving supplies from above. Hopefully, the message from this beacon is getting relayed back up to, through the atmosphere, and I'll be able to get a dropship in here with more supplies. If not, it looks like it's going to be a very tedious mining process. Now, a few of your comments that you brought up saying to increase the simulation aspect was that the jetpack might not work on planets in Space Engine in the future because it would require a lot of thrust and power to lift someone off with a very strong sort of gravitational planet. But that is only if the planet is very Earth-like. There could be planets with many sorts of biomes, different environments. You've got to take these sort of things in consideration. Now, before we begin stage 4 and I start building this little base, I'm going to tell you a few things we might want to take in consideration. I'm going to give you 2 options. Now, the first is we could build a underground sort of base with a small area on top. Now, the benefits of this are, of course, it's out the way, out of sight, and it means that you can save the area and you can keep it out of sight of enemy players who are going to be passing by. Now, if we build on top of the land, it's going to be a lot easier. We're not going to have to do as much mining, but it's going to stick out like a sore thumb. So that's something we're going to want to take in consideration. Now, them options are also going to be problematic if the sort of area of this planet is very sort of inhospitable. So, say for instance, it's very cold on the surface, or it's very sort of deserty environment. These are all sorts of biomes and ideas you're going to have to take in consideration because we don't know what the weather will be like on these planets, if any. So I've just finished grabbing some of the supplies and tools I'm going to need out the back of the ship to begin the base, and I've decided to go with a sort of 2-level design, combining both the ideas. I'm going to have a sub-level, and I'm also going to have a level above ground with a landing pad so the dropship can actually arrive, resupply quite easily, and get the supplies straight into the base via connector, rather than have to carry the supplies off manually by a stacker truck or even by hand. We'll have to see how it goes. So at this moment in time, I've had no word from the dropship above, but we've actually begun to build the foundations, and I've managed to do this quite straight. I'll show you the foundations. There's foundations for this little building. This is one of the areas where the dropship is going to land. I did them quite straight. I made a few mess up areas here where I got a little bit close to the wall, but by right clicking you don't actually waste, because you don't really want to pick up grass and rock, do you? So I was just cutting along really straight, using the jetpack to get these sort of really straight lines, and then using the arrow keys to go across, go back up, much like a tractor, going up and down until I got this perfect area. And then I got a few mess ups, but it won't make much that difference, and I think the dropship will be here any moment with some more supplies to actually get this thing building. The only thing that I've got a little bit of a problem with, how am I going to offload supplies at this moment in time? Hopefully they bring some sort of vehicle down or stacker truck that I can unload the crates with that way, but we'll have to see. Right, so as you can see, the base is actually taking shape. The underground area has started to add constructions. I've actually used up most of the supplies that ship can actually carry around with it now. So I'm really waiting for that drop to come in with the supplies now. And I've got the hangar here that I've not really started work on because I'm a bit worried about the actual size of the dropship and if it'll be the large or the small. If it's the small, it'll fit perfectly. But I'll just show you what I've built so far. So I've got this area that's going to access the lower area. Bear in mind that there's going to be a base on top of here. But this is just going to drop in here and I'm going to work my way up. So you see we've got some vents and the fans pushing air into this area. We have hangar 1, and then from here we lead into the hangar bay area. That will be decorated just like this one. So I've added a few extra things that I could have saved resource wise to actually build into the hangar, but since I'm going to get a dropship coming in a minute, it shouldn't really cause too much effort on that one. So let's close these doors back up. Really cool. There'll be a list of mods in the description anyway if you want to build something like this yourself. I better get working on the hangar. So I've just used up all the supplies now on the little ship. To finish off the hangar, I've put another catwalk in so you can observe the ship landing. Of course, the top needs to be built on as well as the hangar doors, but I just wanted to quickly show you this, and I think the dropship is actually coming down from up above. Yes, it is. Perfect. But what you can do is you can seal up this door here, and you can see we've got all these fans along the side, and if we press this button here, this is just a temporary thing. You can see the shutters are actually coming down on the fans, preventing oxygen from coming in here. So once this door opens up, it means the oxygen won't go to waste Pretty cool idea, I thought I'd show you that. Anyway, let's get unloading this dropship. So now I actually have control of the dropship itself. I've brought it down to a much slower speed, but we'll increase it a little bit by using the thrust packs. And we're heading over to our base. That is just over there in the distance. You can see it on the ridge as we pass by the rivers and the various rocks. It's so cool flying around planets like this. Maybe this vehicle would have to have a little bit more thrust to actually be capable of this, but now we're approaching. We'll slow it down and we'll activate our vertical takeoff mode. Something I think that might be quite important to beat the sort of gravity, having more thrusters in that downward position. And then we need to turn this thing around so it'll actually be able to fit into the hangar itself. This is going to be a really tight fit by the look of it. So we'll rotate this around, bring it into position. I've also made some modifications to the hangar so it's more likely to fit a little bit better. So it looks really tight from above here. So we'll bring that forward, and I've made some indents in the side. We'll bring that down, lower the landing gears. You can see the gears coming down. Perfect. And let's actually line this thing up. We need to get this spot on first time, or else we're going to have some serious damage to have to repair. Nose is clear, rear is clear, and now we've got that little tunnel at the front, so I can just sweep the nose into it. And once we're down into position, perfect, we can actually just slide forward, get the nose into a little bit of a tunnel. There should be gaps at the side. Perfect. And I think we're almost there. And now we're in position to lower it, make sure it's flat, and enable them landing gears to lock into position. So now we're actually taking a look at the next phase, that's phase 5. Even though phase 4 is still under construction of the actual base, I have landed the ship in here very tightly, if I have to say. Now this is a really important stage because in later stages it'll actually bottleneck your system, and you need to offload your supplies in such a method where you can get them out of the ship very fast and get the ship back out to do its job, even though it might be just mining the planet's surface, it might be back up to a fleet above, or whatever. You just need to get that ship available as soon as possible. So let's actually start this process and I'll show you what I've done. I'll do a quick overview and then I'll go through the details. So first off, we have the dropship here, just my standard sort of dropship design with a lowering sort of gate, and down below we have a connector. The connector runs through a pipe that connects up to these two other areas in case there's another ship with a different sort of connection point, and it works a little bit like a petrol station. Underneath the floor of this hangar we have a number of large cargo containers that can be piped into anywhere around the base, so it means it can fill them up and this ship can actually get out of there and get back up to my fleet above. So first off, let's begin the connection by lowering the actual doors inside this ship. So we're going to press this button. Actually, we're not going to press that button. We're going to press this one, and that'll lower the doors of the dropship down. Very good. And then we're going to press this button, then it'll lower the cargo containers in place. So this is 4 cargo containers, so it's quite a lot of supplies in here. I believe we've got a mixture of steel plates and a bit of more of the basic sort of necessities until I've got my own sort of production station up. But we're going to hop down here and we're going to move to the next stage. So we're going to raise our little arm up like so, and then we're going to retract that out like that, and once that's in a suitable position we're actually going to lock that into position itself. But I think that's a little bit too far, so we're going to hit reverse and we're going to move that backwards a little bit. You can see there's a little bit of bobble in this system, and you often need to correct for this by giving it a little bit of fine tuning. So let's actually push that nozzle a little bit more forward. There we go, perfect. So that'll actually connect up now, and I'll manage to transfer supplies very fast out of these cargo containers and back into the system. I'll give it a check, let these offload, and then we'll reverse the system and take the ship back up into space. So I've just checked at the control panel, all the supplies are now off the ship. We can actually reverse the process of this and get everything back up. So I've disconnected the connector point already, and all we need to do is reverse the points. So that should come back into that position, that should then lower down, and we can do this very fast, and that's what I mean about not bottlenecking your actual system up at any particular stage. So we're actually going to bring that up and bring that up as well at the same time, and that should be all offloaded. You can also see I've got the back door locked up as well, so we can actually lower this down if we wanted to and offload supplies the really slow way. I love the light how it hits that ramp as well as it's lowering down, but for the moment we're just going to get the ship out of here and do the job for something else. So this should be back in a few hours time. Right, first off we need to disengage our landing gears wherever they may be, so that's a 6 I believe. So to wrap this up, I'd really like to hear your feedback and comments, as well as things you'd like to see in this base added to the future, things that might be crucial to the survival of people down on a planet. Anyway, I'd like to thank you guys for watching, and I can't wait to read through your comments. I'll see you next time.